Subnautica is an underwater-based survival game. The ship you are in, the Aurora, crash lands on a mostly water-based planet named 4546b. You are stranded on the planet and you try to find your way off it, while seeing if anybody else has survived the crash. Your main goal is to gather resources from the area and build your way to safety by slowly progressing your arsenal of tools and equipment until you finally succeed. This game has a lot of exploration and in my opinion is one of the best survival games out there. Today, I will talk about why Subnautica is such a good but terrifying game. Now, I'm going to start the video with Subnautica's strongest aspect, the exploration. Also, spoilers ahead, so watch at your own risk. Each biome in this game has a different vibe, and none feel the same. Some places can provide a lot more resources and blueprints, while some places can be mostly there for the story. While most places have a purpose, there are a few biomes that you can really avoid all game and not have to go to once. The dunes are a great example of this. There's nothing really there to offer besides some wrecks and an alien cache. You're also setting yourself up for death when you're in that biome. With the multiple Reaper Leviathans in that place, they're sure to give you a scare and maybe even steal your sea moth. The safe shallows, being 0 to 80 meters in depth, is the safest area in the game. It's also the place you start the game off with. With no hostile predators besides the annoying pesky crash fishes, it's a safe haven with a good area to build your first base. It has mostly basic resources like limestone outcrops to provide titanium and copper, but you can find quartz and even on a rare chance as some sandstone outcrops. It's plentiful with nature like corals, tubes, and acid mushrooms. Grassy plateaus will probably be the third biome you'll find while starting off. Its depth is 50 to 170 meters. It's mostly made out of flat land with red grass and is full of dangerous sand sharks. These guys will hide in sand and pop out to kill you while you least expect it. There's plenty of big crashes and smaller ones scattered around this biome. But beware, since most of these crashes have biters who will leech onto your arm and start to suck your blood. You will also encounter your first Leviathan class, the Reefback. These guys are huge whale-like things that float close to the surface. But don't worry, they're friendly guys. This area also houses a giant cave system called Jelly Shrooms Caves, which has a Degazi base and good resources. Just make sure you're ready first because the cave depth goes down to 300 meters. The Grand Reef is a beautiful but dangerous place. It's a deep biome that ranges from 150 meters to 500. It starts in the open, but the deeper you get the more enclosed the space is. It starts from you being able to see the surface to you being in the middle of a deep dark cave. It has lots of threats like the craft skid which can shoot an EMP blast to disable your vehicles, and warpers who can teleport you out your vehicle if you aggro them. The Grand Reef has the third Gazi base, which you will discover, and one of the entrances to the deep corroded river known as the Lost River. But be careful because if you stray too far in the biome, you may encounter a ghostly being known as the Ghost Leviathan. Grand Reef is full of bright blue orbs, which light the place up. Even with all the more orbs, the place still manages to be dim and light and give off an eerie vibe. Right below the Grand Reef is an entrance to the Green Foggy, Tristan Caverns, Toxic Lake, Ghost Leviathan Lovin' Lost River. Its depth is between 550 to 1000 meters. Down there, the bottom of the floor of the Lost River is full of green toxic gas, which will hurt you if you go in it. It has three entrances to it. One in the deep Grand Reef, one in the northern Blood Kelp, and one in the Bulb Zone. Each entrance is guarded by a Ghost Leviathan. You will discover more hostile fauna and the skeletal remains of huge Leviathan creatures like this beefy boy. and these huge bones of an ancient leviathan. I wonder what this could be. There's also a disease research facility here which ties into the story. In the center of this biome is a giant ghost leviathan egg which is on a tree. This area is peaceful with no hostiles and the blue gas is safe to go in. All these biomes have secrets into them which I haven't talked about. There's also a few endgame biomes which I will talk about in another topic. There's still plenty of biomes out there that I haven't talked about. Who knows, maybe I can make a separate video on these biomes. So how does the story hold up in this game? It's a pretty good story and I'll explain it to you now. A ship known as the Ghazi crash lands on 4546b because of an unknown cause. You, the player, is in the Aurora, and you and the crew were assigned to find what happened to the Ghazi members. While getting close to the planet, the Aurora gets struck with a green energy beam which makes it crash in the middle of the planet. When the ship crashes, you're the only one that survives. While exploring the map, you can find broken down the Ghazi bases, which have audio logs, so you can hear what happened to the members. One of them, called Margaret, was last seen riding a huge leviathan into the depths, which will come into importance in the next game. While exploring, you find some alien structures which were built by ancient precursors back 1,000 years ago. They were trying to find a cure to a bacteria known as Carver, which has been destroying planets and killing millions. They went to this planet and hoped to find a cure, but disaster struck when an enraged creature breaks open a facility and releases samples to the water, which ends up infecting all the creatures on the planet. You can actually see this destroyed facility in the Lost River. It's barely hanging. With the infection going around, you must find a way to stop it before you are also infected. While waiting, a ship called Sunbeam notices the crashed ship and starts to land on the planet, but before that an alien tower starts turning into a giant gun, which shoots a giant laser at the Sunbeam, destroying it.
Survivor, we see you. Man, I don't know how you held out down there. We broke an atmosphere, and we're descending towards the landing site. Is that a building down there? What do you mean you can't identify it? Hold on. No turning back now. Positions, everyone. Touching down in 10, 9, 8. It's coming from the building? Change course. Set thrusters to full.
The reason the tower shot was because the precursors put the planet on quarantine before they died out, so no one is allowed to leave nor enter the planet anymore. Not losing hope, you go deeper down to find the disease research facility in the Lost River, which you discover that they actually found a way to produce a cure. The only way to get this cure is to find a species known as the Sea Emperor Leviathans, which can produce enzymes, which will cure you, but there's actually only one Sea Emperor left, and it's getting old. The cure that one produces won't be good enough since it's old. Once you go deeper down to the lava lakes, you find a containment facility, and inside there is the Sea Emperor and 5 eggs. Knowing about the eggs, you go and get the necessary ingredients to make a hatching enzyme. Once they hatch, they produce enzymes which cures you, and when you're cured, you are able to disable the giant gun since you're not infected anymore. Now that the gun is off, you find the Neptune rocket blueprints, and build one and launch yourself out the planet. As much as leaving is nice, you now owe the Altera Corporation lots of money since they own that planet and you are using the resources and tech. So, good luck dealing with the debts.
Launch in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time capsule jettisoned.
Subnautica excels in the terrifying category. To explain it, Subnautica is more terrifying than straight horror. It stands the same, but in my eyes, each have a different definition. Horror is more like jump scares or gore. I mean, hell, if you want an example, then take a look at the many horror games out there. Terrifying is more of leaving you at the edge of your seat. From spooky vibes to the feeling that something is watching you, it gives you the eerie feeling. With horror games, you could easily predict the jump scares, or just know when to expect it. In my opinion, the terrifying aspect is more scary than straight horror, because you can't predict the terrifying feeling. It's a lot more scary. Some examples of this is in the Blood Kelp biome. When you go there, the surrounding brightness diminishes to pitch black. You look up, but all you see is black. You can't see the surface nor the ground. With spooky trees and a dark atmosphere, plus mixed in with the creepy music, you get the most eerie vibe. You may also end up hearing a loud roar in the distance, and when you hear that, you know something has found you. What it is, who knows, but all you know is that you need to run. The Lost River gives off another eerie vibe. With its darker atmosphere and the green gas at the bottom, it really gives you the feeling of uneasiness. The giant Leviathan fossil you see also gives a strange vibe since the skeletal remains that you see is only 1/3 of the body. The whole body goes up to 1100 to 1500 meters in length, which is almost half the size of the map. Just the feeling that this Leviathan class used to roam the place makes you wonder there's still more out there, and that just gives us a spooky vibe. If I'm gonna bring up scariness, then I gotta talk about Crater's Edge. This is the biome that pretty much counts as the end of the world, or the no-go zone. The only thing you find there is pure darkness. Once you enter it, the music stops playing. You don't hear anything. It's quiet. But out of nowhere, you hear the loud roars, and all of a sudden you see a giant ghost Leviathan pop out the shadows and kill you. This place is the most terrifying place in the game. If you want a more in-depth video about why Subnautica is terrifying, then check out Adam Millard's video about how Subnautica uses terror. I'll link his video in the description.
Warning, entering ecological dead zone. Adding report to databank.
And I'm just like... Is there like something here? There's like an invisible wall here. Alright. What even am I? Oh! Oh shit! Oh shit! No, no, no. I made a mistake. Why am I doing this to myself? Subnautica's gameplay is pretty good. It follows the same formula as most survival games. You start off with basically nothing and find resources to upgrade your arsenal. What makes it more engaging is the fact that you need to explore almost every biome to progress. The safe shallows will only provide you with the basic resources, and when resources are limited, you have to explore to find more. The more you upgrade your arsenal, the more higher up resources is needed. Like, if you want better batteries and power cells, then you need to find iron cubes, which can only be found in alien caches and facilities. Another reason for exploring is to find blueprints. This aspect makes Subnautica different from other games, because instead of guessing the crafting recipe or using points to unlock in certain recipes, you actually need to find the items and scan them. They're usually found in scattered Altera boxes around the map or huge wrecks. Some of the better recipes can only be found in other life pods around the map. You need to explore if you want these. Also, what I also like about this game is the game doesn't give you any hints of where to find resources. For example, rubies can be found in many places like the sparse reef or the blood kelp, but you need to explore to find them. If you were like me, you'll just end up googling where the location is, but if you want to be more intrigued in the gameplay, it's better to just explore for them, because you'll probably find a lot of fun things. Once you get enough ingredients, you can start building vehicles. There's a total of 3 vehicles: the Seamoth, the Prawn Suit, and the Cyclops. Each all have a purpose. What I like is the fact that each fragment of these are all placed in great spots. Easy way to find the Seamoth fragments is to explore the grassy plateaus. This will probably be your first vehicle. The Cyclops is a big submarine that has 3 areas in it, which you will need to find all 3 blueprints to build it. The best way to find these pieces is in the crash site, but there's lots of pieces near the back of the Evora. But you risk being killed by Reaper Leviathans. These bad boys love to chill next to the back of the Evora, which makes finding these pieces a high risk, high reward. The main way to get the prawn suit is going to the Evora. You actually need to build other blueprints like the gravity gun first to even get in the Evora, which makes getting these fragments a bit harder. The game lets you have the ability to kill other creatures. This is not ideal, but it's possible. The only main weapon you're given is a small little knife. While most survival games let you get better weapons or let you upgrade your main weapons to kill other enemies, Subnautica ditches that mindset and makes you the most vulnerable you can be. If you want to survive in this world, you must take more of a stealthy approach, where you need to avoid all creatures instead of taking them on. You are the hunted in this world, not the hunter. You can upgrade the knife if you want to, a flaming one, but that only increases damage a little and lets you cook small fish on the spot. It's not a straightforward damage upgrade like other games. Your knife has the ability to scare some creatures away if you hit them enough, but that's about it. You have to either run or find some other way to survive if a creature gets attracted to you, and I love this. It makes you think differently instead of making you feel like a badass able to kill everything. Of course, if you really want, you can just ignore everything that I said and hop in a project and go full doom on the creatures. The survival aspect of this game is pretty good. Like most survival games, you have a health bar, a hunger bar, and a thirst bar. And for this game, you also have an oxygen bar. The game starts you off with some food and water, but you only have two of each. Getting food is easy, all you have to do is pick up some fish and cook them in the fabricator. Water, on the other hand, is a bit more harder and annoying to handle. For early game, the best ways are to pick up bladderfish or combine salt and coral tube samples to make bleach, which can then be turned into water. Once you get later in the game, you can make a water purifier to have infinite water, which makes this aspect of the game a lot easier. Now, eating fish can only get you so far, so the best way of food is to start a garden with food from either the sea or from the floating islands. This will provide infinite and way better and easier to get food. You only get 45 seconds of oxygen, but that can be increased if you find and build better O2 tanks. If you dive below 100 meters, you will start to deplete oxygen at a much faster rate, and the only way to counter this is to build a rebreather. Replayability is an interesting factor. Once I finished the game, I decided to explore some of the biomes I didn't yet. That gave me maybe an extra 2 hours or so of playtime. From my experience, once I finished the game, I didn't really have the feeling to do anything else with it. I explored everything and then I just dropped the game for a few months. You know, every time I tried to pick it up in those few months, I would get kind of bored of it. But in my opinion, Subnautica is a game you'll play through till the end, and then you'll just stop playing it, and come back to like a later date, like I am. You can add more of a challenge to yourself, obviously, like maybe playing on hardcore mode, or even seeing how fast you can beat the game. But besides that, there's not much replayability in my opinion. You play it for a few weeks, give it a break, then come back to it and enjoy it again. It's a whole ass cycle. So, that's Subnautica. In my eyes, Subnautica is definitely a titan of the survival genre. It combines both great survival aspects and the terror meter makes it a long-lasting survival game that will probably never be beaten. With Subnautica Below Zero also in alpha, the game ain't going anywhere. It will definitely stay relevant for a long time. And this is why Subnautica is such an awesome game. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I had fun replaying the game. Make sure to drop a like and sub, and follow my Instagram, Discord, and Twitch. They'll all be linked in the description. Thanks for watching, Crusaders. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.